The O Cannabis Conference and Expo returns to Toronto June 1st through the 3rd, and there's still some good booth locations available. This exciting event is free for cannabis retailers and will feature Tommy Chong receiving a Lifetime Achievement Award at the O Cannabis Industry Awards. For more information about exhibiting or to register to attend, go to ocannabis.com. That's OCANNABIZ.com. Welcome back to the Talking Hedge. I'm Josh Kincaid, capital markets analyst and host of your Cannabis Business Podcast. Today we've got Rohit Srivastava, Chief Investment Officer and Portfolio Manager with Saroj and Banu Fund, to talk about our AI-based Cannabis Index with predictive analytics. Rohit, thanks for being back with us.
Thanks for having me, Josh. Well, sorry for my look here. I just looks like I just woke up, but
I've got this dome thing going with my fake background. My hair really probably comes out to here, but it's cropping for me. So Zoom's doing a haircut.
Oh, that's awesome. I wish I could change my background too. In that sense. But today we're going to do the similar drill, talk a little disclosure that this is all for entertainment. This is all for learning. There is no financial advice we're giving here. Do your own analysis while you're investing into this. And we talk about our cannabis index, which is an equally weighted index, and its primary reason is to give you an understanding about where the market is going and how is it going, mostly in that direction. And this was from the inception of our index creation, and this is where it was last week. We were talking about 310 being a new support. We reached to 390, and we were talking about that. It looked like it could bounce back from there or turn around. And in order to know exactly which direction we got to go, we wanted to look into the more money flow. But it looked like it did bounce back on that, and it's probably at a point where it might be at a stopping point or a little bit of correction at 475 or 450, between 470 and 450. That's where it is right now. And when we talk about the money flow, last week when we were talking about, we were seeing that there was this huge up and down, and then slowly the money flow started creeping back in, and it looked like it was going to cross that orange line and move forward, which it did. And that's where it is that a huge amount of cash came in, or a huge amount of trading that happens, and there we will see a correction on this. If we try to draw a trend line somewhere in 1 or 2 days, we should see a correction happening, or like a little bit of cash, people who might have bought and taking the profits away. So we might see that happening in the next couple of days. From our investable AI-based, we were holding all the 5 of them, which we were holding last week, and we bought 4 of these. Now, just to remind you, this is actually the first time in the last 8-10 months we have been holding so many at a time. So which really tells that the market had been the AI had been detecting that the market had been really optimistic in general about that. There's one which we bought and sold in a gap of 1 day time, which is RTO Group. But other than that, everything we bought has been holding. And I did see a couple of sells this today, so you should see that in the next time what those sells were. From the overall, we are holding about 10 stocks at this point. And look at that gain. Since the inception, we had about 58% gain, and for this year itself, we have about 47% gain. Now, it's not just our AI basically had the tremendous gain. All the indexes, POTX and MJ, they had huge gain this last 10 days. So you can see 30.97 and to 9%, 9+%, and 16+% on POTX and MJ. And we had a decent 14.2% gain, somewhere between that. And like we talked before, that our AI is not like it will outsmart everything all the time. Where there's a cautious aspect of it, and the cautious aspect gives a little bit lower returns than the others. Like you can see 14.2 versus 16.39, but still more than MJ. But it is not like, I just want the viewers to know that it's not like a magic wand. So for example, this last week, we had a 4% gain while the others had a negative percent gain in that. So coming back to our gains, we are about 78% since inception and about 47% this year itself. So summarizing that, it broke all the support, and we will see at 470 if it still holds that, and based on how much the money flow is and how much it is, looks like there is going to be a mini correction next 1 week, but still look positive overall from the market perspective. And we're holding about 10 of these stocks which are listed in there, and overall we have a 78% gain and 47% gain respectively on since inception and year to date. That's all I have for you today.
And 14.20 on the week. So not too shabby for a cannabis index right there.
That is amazing, yeah.
One thing that is interesting is that 600% increase in cash flow. We saw about a 500% increase, and then it dropped out. So as I think people are looking for opportunities, more risk. They're going away from maybe equities or indexes into straight equities. Not really sure. Last week, though, it seemed everything was in the green, going crazy. Even Aurora at 158%. Is that what we got? I don't even know what.
No,
total.
We did had Aurora in there, and
so 100, almost 158%, and that's just what our gain was. I don't know what total they had. I think it was 123% that I read in the newspaper just within a matter of hours. So I don't think that has to do with their stock split, was it?
200. I don't know this is all based on technicals, but
right.
I think if from 5, I think it was about 200% gain from that. I think it was creeping up from 511. I think that's what the AI caught up on, that it was increasing without any gain. Let's see.
I think this is an earnings report. They filed their earnings. It wasn't like grand or whatever, but people just bought into it. And I think maybe some other bots or maybe just market orders were set and drove that up to 158% for the week. That's a pretty good return. Yeah, although the shorts are going to have a heyday with it.
Yeah, and I think it has been doing crazily last couple of days. Like you can see here that I think here, this is the point where it actually 314 is when it actually bought it. That's the trend line. Probably I might have made this trend line at some point. That's the trend line. Probably it was buying at that point, and it has been doing crazy. Like I think from that day it has been, how much is that? That's like almost 50% in like 3 days, I think, and then crazily going down and down, and then it has been doing crazy on that thing. But I think it sold it today. This is one of them actually, which it sold it today with whooping like it's an amazing 31,000 gain out of a $1 million portfolio. So it did pretty good on that one. But I think most of them, you can see most of them did pretty good. We have been holding this for a while, but I think ABBV and which is probably the biggest part of the portfolio, that itself did pretty good. And I think ABBV, this is actually outdated. And this is not, because ABBV is probably a lot more than 84. It's at 93 today. But even ABBV, I think it is, I don't think so it will sell today. But it is, all of them are at getting to a resistance now. Close to a resistance of $94, or between 94 and 97. So it will probably sell pretty soon if it reaches anytime higher on that.
There's a lot of optimism. A lot of people think that the bottom was already there and that we're already back to all-time highs. So they're not even thinking about the next potential wave or any other crash. So,
yeah. Well, the market is very optimistic at this point. I mean, I have not run the reports for today, but overall, I think it looks like even with this little bit of selling, but this is the resistance that it has always tries to bounce back. Like even during this time, it probably had the resistance anytime. And the whole reason why this is a huge resistance is last year between this time, the last time, you can see this part here, we were in like running sideways for almost 2-3 months.
Mm-hmm.
This is a time when we were just running sideways for 2-3 months, and that just has, which is what is that? It kept on fluctuating between 275 and 300 for like almost 2-3 months, from March. Where is that? From April till 6 months. So 6 months it was just fluctuating between those two. And that's the result of where we are right now, is that we're approaching that. And that either what would happen is that we probably would be just seeing this going sideways, or it will go down and then come back up and go down and come back up. So that's what my anticipation is. But here we see that it is approaching as a resistance. So we might be pretty close on that resistance at this point.
Yeah, a lot of the cannabis indexes and individual equities are kind of following the SPY anyway. So it's kind of a gauge for that whole sector to follow.
Yeah. So let's see what happens in the next couple of weeks. Very interesting.
Yeah. You have to come back to the Talking Hedge and find out. So with that, we're going to roll this one up. I want to thank my guest, Rohit Srivastava, Chief Investment Officer and Portfolio Manager with Saroja Bond Fund. Thanks again.
Thank you.
I'm Josh Kincaid. This is the Talking Hedge. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, or don't. And I'm out. Don't forget to smash that like button on your way out and check out these other videos that we've got.
Hi, it's Justin Benton, host of the Miracle Plant podcast, where we discuss this miracle plant that goes by so many names and how it's helping people in so many extraordinary ways. So if you love this plant and you want to hear a story that tugs on those heartstrings and learn more about this plant, then head on over to the Miracle Plant podcast. You'll be glad you did.